Let's go on. Let's go on. Look, the part-time Chancellor's giving advice again, and I'm actually coming on to one of his favourite subjects, the West Coast Main Line, Mr. Speaker. Now, the former Railways Secretary, Railways Minister, now the Northern Ireland Secretary, told us in August about the franchise process. We've tested it very robustly. And the former Secretary of State, now the Secretary of State for International Development, she doesn't really want the job, but she's down the bench over there, she said the process is incredibly robust. Yet we learned today that concerns about flaws in the process were raised by the bidders as long ago as May 2011. Can the Prime Minister tell us whether any minister knew about the bidders' concerns?
Well, first of all, he said he wants to talk about his record as Energy Secretary, so I think we should spend a little bit of time on that. Because the fact is, under Labour, gas bills doubled and electricity bills were up more than 50%. When he was Energy Secretary, when he became Energy Secretary, the companies were making £25 loss per bill. When he left government, they were making £55 profit per bill. He didn't stand up to the vested interest. He stuffed their pockets with cash. Right. We've dealt with that. Oh, by the way, sorry. While we're on his energy record, he put in place in his low carbon transition plan a policy that would have added £179 to every single person's bill in the country. So perhaps when he gets up, he can apologise for that.
Mr. Speaker,
perhaps members on both sides could calm down. Let's hear now from the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Ed Miliband.
Somebody help him. Mr. Speaker, even he is taking his habit of not answering questions to a new level. I asked him a question. If he wants to swap places, I'm very happy to do so. I asked him a question about the railways. I have to say, the Chancellor shouts from a sedentary position. It's not the ticket that needs upgrading, it's the Chancellor of the Exchequer in my view. Look, the mishandling of this process has cost taxpayers up to £100 million. So which of his former transport ministers who oversaw the bidding is responsible for this multi-million-pound fiasco?
There is a proper, independent investigation into what happened with the West Coast Main Line. The Secretary of State for Transport has made a full statement to this House and has explained what will be done so that commuters continue to receive a good service and we get to the bottom of what went wrong. But what is interesting and what the country will notice is he wants to talk about the Chancellor because he can't talk about the economy because he's got no plans to increase the private sector. He can't talk about the deficit because he's got no plans to cut it. He can't talk about welfare because he opposes our plans to cap it. He can't talk about all the issues that matter to this country, and that's why he stands up and just tells a whole lot of rubbish jokes.
So, Mr. Speaker, I think we can take it from that answer that nobody is taking responsibility for what happened on the railways. Ministers didn't know the detail, they didn't do the work, and they got caught out. But, Mr. Speaker, who can blame them? They're just playing follow my leader, after all. And this is what he said before he became Prime Minister, and I quote, "We must provide the modern Conservative alternative. Clear, competent, inspiring." Mr. Speaker, where did it all go wrong?
I tell you what has happened under this government in the last week. Inflation, down. Unemployment, down. Crime, down. Waiting list, down. Borrowing, down. That's what's happening, but he can't talk about the real issues because he's not up to the job.